Hello, hello. Hey guys, I'm gonna, as always, DJ needs a second because takes a little while. Apparently. All right, let's see. Um, hmm. Hmm. We had a few technical difficulties, unfortunately. We are settling them out. All right, how about music? Da-da-da-da-da. All right, there we go. Hello, everyone. Hello, Valentyna. Hello, Blair. Hello, David. Hello, two of me. Let's kick my other stuff out. All right. I'm gonna take a couple minutes to settle things up. Blair, how are things?
Good. Luckily, that investor group that I'm most connected with is having their first meeting in person in 5 days. So there will be a lot of people there. So I'm looking forward to doing that pitch.
Awesome.
They
Thank
do
you for doing that.
they do an ask and answer. So every time you attend, you get to ask people to do something for you. And they give you 3 minutes to make a pitch. So I'm getting set for that. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. Valentyna, I tagged you on Instagram if you want to repost, if you want any of your friends to watch for the Zoom link, but you don't have to, just in case you missed it. All right, guys, we will wait a couple more minutes. Reminder that, and thank you for all of you who joined live. We usually get 20 to 30 views later on YouTube. Most people prefer to watch it on their own time, obviously, but we still have to record. So if you're watching on YouTube, we're not complaining. We're grateful that you're watching, even though these calls are every week and they're long, but hopefully you feel like they're informative. All right, let me open my stuff. Vadim, how are things with you?
Everything is going great. This week, I keep saying that. I think it seems like every week, I keep saying that we are exploring new things. It's so good. And so we'll be talking about that today. But just amazing how things are developing, how things are growing, and we find new ways to help people who actually need help, new ways to get support to those who are actually in need with that. And if we need to modify, this team is so amazing that we're so flexible, and when we see the need and we need to shift and change something, here we are shifting and changing. So that's amazing. I'm very glad that Grace T, that everyone on the team is like that. So yeah, it's today. I don't know if it's sunshine in Seattle area. I'm enjoying. Yesterday, I probably got my vitamin D, and today I'm happy. Sun is shining, things are moving and the help is growing, donations are received, people are helped. That's the good part. That's what we need to concentrate on.
Yeah, it's been a while. The war has been, is it 2 months now? When the 24th, right? So basically 2 months.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy. I don't think anyone thought that it would take this long. Anyways, we're gonna jump in. We have a lot, not a lot to cover, but a lot of conversations to have, and I'm excited for today. All right, I'm gonna first go through the usual stuff, and this is the financials. All right, we're gonna go quick, okay, because we do have a lot that I'd like to share. All right, so about Grace T, if you've seen this before, I apologize, but this is for new people. Founded 10 years ago. I actually have met with, last time I met with the attorneys was yesterday. They are polishing up our documents, so things are all pretty set there. I just want to make sure that we understand everything that is required from us from the government so that we do things perfectly well. Also, I spent this last week making sure that all of our records line up so that every penny is accounted for, and happy to say that every penny is accounted for. So yeah, 10 plus volunteers in the US, 10 plus partners in Ukraine. Together we try to make this the work. Everybody has a full-time job. Everyone has a full-time job, and we try our best to do what we can to still help people. Everything goes to Ukraine. We have no salaries. Every expense, whether that be lawyers or bank fees, whether it be lawyers or like website fees, we cover out of our pocket. But the only thing that isn't covered are the transaction fees. When donations are made, the bank takes a small percentage, like 3%. That is eaten up by the bank. Everything else goes to Ukraine. We only help civilians, and we focus on people in Ukraine. That's our main part. This is our core team, as we call it. These are the people that spend the most time on Grace T, but we do have many volunteers, and all the volunteers who have helped, whether that be blogging, website, applying for grants. Just big thank you to all the volunteers for helping out. Financials, we hit $150,000 in less than 2 months. Super grateful for that. When I had an idea to start the organization, I had no idea what to expect. I just thought, hey, we're just gonna start and then see what happens, and definitely did not expect this. Sorry, let me check. 1 second. The other person who's joining us, Nicole, Alina, is texting me, trying to figure out the link, so I'm texting her back. All right. Anyway, 150,000. That's really grateful for that. I'm grateful to Ilona, who's making these graphics. Ilona, I think you're probably hearing this. So thank you for doing this. Ilona is very like, if I post anything that doesn't look good, she texts me and says, what are you doing? Why does this look bad? And she takes her time to create these from scratch. This just FYI, this is created from scratch. This isn't something we found online. This is created just for us. Thank you, Ilona, for doing that. All right, our financials are, so far, we have collected $161,000. This is almost 14,000 compared to last week, exactly this time. The amount is larger because we received $10,000 in cryptocurrency from a DAO. If you don't know what the DAO is, essentially it's an organization of a bunch of people who, in this case, the organization is made for helping people. So they donated to us $10,000. Big thank you to them, and that brings a total to over 160,000, which is amazing. But if you do look at the, if you take this one out of there, if you just look at the what's left, it's about $4,000. So the donations are going down in terms of just volume. However, we do expect. It seems like individual donations are going down. So we're seeing a lot less, $200, $100, $50 donations. But sometimes we have a big amount come through, and that helps us to stay afloat. As of right now, we have sent 113,000 to Ukraine, and as you can see, in the last week we sent $6,000. So that is how much we sent last week. So we received 14, we sent 6. So we have a profit. I wouldn't call it a profit. It's just more money that sits in the bank. So this is our breakdown right now. I share these numbers so that we're being transparent. As I've said many times, if you have questions or you want to look into the details of how the money is used, or you want to look behind the scenes, I am more than happy to do that. You can just call me and I can walk you through everything we do. So right now we have 44,000, and we'll tell you about some of the plans for us. For that money, we're trying to balance having money available when it's needed, and also sending it over to Ukraine as soon as possible, because we don't want to just hang on to it for no reason. We want to use it, but at the same time, we want to have a little bit left always, so that when there's a super urgent need, we have that money. So there's a balance there. Also, we don't want to just push money just no matter where, just somehow throw it at some problem, because there are many problems we could throw it at. We want to make sure that every dollar goes the longest it could go. And it's mostly food and water and basic medical supplies is we feel like the best way to use this money. And so anyway, we'll share a little bit more about that. And then with the clothes that was donated, all in all, 175,000 is what we were able to raise in less than 2 months. Again, way more than I expected, and just big thank you to everyone who participated. Really, really, really appreciated. All right. And now we'll get to the more interesting part. All right. So reminder who Valentyna is. So first of all, if you're not familiar with Ukraine, where the map is, so Kiev is the capital, and it is right in the center of Ukraine. And if you look at the map of the conflict, and I go look at Al Jazeera, they have an updated map. This is the conflict map. The blue areas is where the Russian forces used to be, and now they withdrew. Kiev is right there. So right now, Kiev, you can say, is in a safe zone, and this is where Valentyna is. And her work up to this point has been helping. This work has up to this point has been helping people in the area that, for one reason or another, are just simply out of food mostly. And most of these people have been the elderly. A lot of the elderly have had their pensions stopped during the war, and a lot of their kids and grandkids, they left the area, they fled, but the elderly stayed back. And in many cases, they either couldn't buy the food, or even if they had the money somehow, they a lot of times just couldn't get down from their apartment. And so Valentyna has been hand delivering help to them, and that's my introduction. And Valentyna, we have two people today that are going to share what they're up to. Valentyna is first, and then Alina is going to be a little later. Valentyna, hello, welcome to the call. Sorry, I feel like I'm in too good of a mood for calls like this. Usually last call, I unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, ended the call and broke down in tears. So I'm hoping that this is not going to be one of those calls, but who knows? Valentyna, you're on mute, so you'll have to unmute yourself first. First, tell us, how are you feeling after you unmute? You're on mute. You're on mute. You gotta unmute. It should be.
Микрофон надо включить. У вас выключен микрофон.
Да-да-да.
Thank you.
Так,
Hello.
все слышно. Hello.
Hi, and that you are amazing. You do a great job. So you words about situation in Ukraine. Are you hearing me well? It's okay?
Yes, I think it's good. It's a little bit, the internet was a little bit off, but I think we're good.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, should be okay.
You know, we have Easter tomorrow in Ukraine,
Okay.
and that's why people waiting this day so much. But we still have military conditions, so it's still dangerous to be in Ukraine, and we still in our stress. So.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I'm and my team, we're trying to be okay and be as useful as we can.
Mm-hmm. Tell us what you're currently doing. How are you helping people in the area right now?
You know, our past 2 weeks, we deliver some packs with food to address, yes, in Kyiv. But now we found opportunity to send these packs to different cities and village, because you know, Kyiv now Kyiv has a lot of support from different countries, from different funds, from different companies, yes. Funds, yes. And now I think it is more safe city in Ukraine, and people have everything there. So if I need some food or some medicine, I just call some company and I can take this help. But people in other cities and in other villages, they don't have this opportunity. So we decided to send packs to those people. So my friends do it last 2 weeks. Sorry for my mistakes in English, okay? But I hope
Please
you understand.
Don't be sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure everyone who has tried to learn a second language knows that your English is excellent. So don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
It's great.
So thank you. So a lot of people from regions, they write us, they tell us about their situations, they show their documents, and such cities like Mariupol, Dnipropetrovsk, you know, and a lot of different cities in Ukraine, and people write us, and for example, for today we have 125 заявок. Как будет по-английски? Помогите мне.
Request.
Yes, request. Yes, and we want to provide it next week. So it's simple needs like food, medicine, hygiene, yes, projects, and because a lot of people lost their homes, their families, and you know, and the situation that people must leave their homes and go to another city, to a new place, and they have nothing. They have no brush for their teeth or shampoo or clothes. So we decided to help people in regions.
Okay, I will to give people more understanding of what you're doing. I will share some of the things that you sent us. So
Yes.
For those of you that are a little bit maybe confused, what are we talking about? So what Valentyna is saying is that the situation in Kyiv has improved, but the situation in other parts of the country is really, really bad. And so her friends are thinking of how do we deliver packages, not just to people in the surrounding area where there are finally nonprofits, there are finally people helping. There's because the Russian troops withdrew, but how do we help in areas where things are still really, really bad? And so her friends are figured out that an effective way of doing that is to ship, because the Ukrainian postal service is still working, to ship packages to people who are in need. And in order to verify people, and I'll show you that in order to verify people, many of them are sending their credentials, their passports, their information. And this is the video that Valentyna sent us of all of the requests that are coming into an Instagram. All of these people are saying, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm in this area. Here's my information. Here's proof that I live here. This is my family. This is what I need. And so they are sending in their requests, and their team is processing those requests. And they're showing, see, as you can see right here, they're saying, hey, this is where I live. This is my paperwork, and my house got destroyed. And I need, like, for example, I assume, I'm not reading this, but I assume that they're asking for specific medicine that they need to get it sent. And so Valentyna's team, what they're doing is, and there's, as you can see, Valentyna sent us like a gazillion screenshots of people asking for the packages, and then sending photos when they receive those packages. And this is what it looks like. They purchase what is necessary, they package it, and then they ship it. This is some of the photos of them buying the items. And this is their little warehouse. I'm guessing the warehouse is in somebody's flat. And so the summary is that Valentyna's previous focus was on people that are local, but now that things are better in the surrounding areas, they're trying to see how they can be most effective. It's true that every dollar we send can be used locally as well, because people do need the help, but it's a question of how can it be most effective. There's a little video of Valentyna packaging all the goods. And so we're already have partnered with Valentyna, and she's been amazing at, and I'm not just saying this because she's here. Like our entire team of Valentyna, thank you so much. The documentation, the communication, the responsibility of how using funds in the best way possible, like just really, really amazing at the effectiveness of our partnership. It's not just, hey, let's throw money at this unnecessary, not unnecessary, okay. There are many ways to use the money that isn't the best way, and she's been just amazing. And we're very, very excited because they can really reach a lot of really, really people that really need it. Any other comments or questions from anyone? If anyone has questions about this, I'd love to answer them as well. Valentyna, how is the overall feeling of people in Kiev? How's everyone feeling?
Very different, people sometimes you see when people crying, some people not want to tell you anything, and it's I think maybe we're waiting for Easter tomorrow, and people more trying smiling. Ukrainian people don't like smile usually, but now the situation is very different. I think it's okay because it's hard times, and it's ok when people are not ok. So I'm trying to be okay because I need to help other people, but I think we need a lot of, all Ukrainians need a lot of help. Психологов. Помогите мне перевести, пожалуйста.
Psychologist.
Psychologists or
Да,
counselors.
да, да,
Counselors,
да.
counseling.
Простите, я уже немножко устала,
No problem, no
забыла
problem. Go
язык.
ahead. No problem.
Пожалуйста, переведите. Мне кажется, что всем нашим людям понадобится очень серьезная психологическая поддержка, потому что у людей психика расшатанная, и люди реагируют по-разному на происходящее.
She's saying that our people are going to need a lot of psychological help because the mental state and the psychology of the people is completely destroyed. Katya happens to be a psychologist. Is that right? Is psychologist the title for you, Katya? Can you tell us your thoughts on what you're doing? And
Sure. Welcome from Ukraine.
Thank you.
Actually, right now in Rivne, I arrived here a few days ago, and I'm actually been blessed in with another psychologist who lives here. I want to introduce you to me, Oksana. Wanna come and say hi? Hi. Hello. Hi. We're celebrating early Easter, I guess. Like we're having a dinner right now, but she's amazing. She's a military psychologist, so she really knows what she's doing, and she has been training guys at the front line on how to help to stabilize during time of distress. So just like do tapping, deep breathing, all these things. So she's working a lot with them, and on Tuesday I'm going to meet with the team of psychologists, teachers. We're going to go through EMDR training and some other things, and on Monday we're going to a refugee camp just to work. I think that will give me a bit more understanding of levels of distress and like what different people need. And on Wednesday we're going to Chernivtsi to do more training with volunteers and first responders. Some of them are English speakers, like Americans, I guess, or English speakers coming from abroad and helping to evacuate people. And there's quite a bit of people from Mariupol that were able to evacuate with one of the Christian schools that they're working and providing them shelter and food. I think one of the seminaries or gyms or schools or something like that. So we're seeing that, yes, and even like as Valentyna said, that more people I talk, like even if they live in Western Ukraine, I think because they're so fatigued for 2 months, they say like, well, we need psychologists because like we're so tired, which obviously compared to frontline and like people from Kharkiv, Mariupol, Kiev, like their distress is nothing because it's quiet, guys. Here we have lights at night. We even have lights outside, which is surprisingly here. It hasn't been always like that, but yeah, definitely West and East, completely two different worlds right now in Ukraine, and it's kind of almost separated, and it's almost like America and Ukraine in a way for those who are in America. And so like what the level of distress there and in Ukraine is very different. So even like here, West and East is very different as well.
Katya, can you tell us how long you've been in Ukraine and why did you go and where you used to live a month ago?
Yes. I lived in the beautiful Colorado, very much sunshine. And just was so sick and tired of being less productive and decided to go to the war zone. Anyway, but yeah, I just came on Monday, this Monday. On Tuesday, I flew into Poland, and by God's grace, I was like taken quickly into Ukraine. On Wednesday, I was already here. Here in Rivne, and as I say, I'm probably going to stay mostly maybe in the West, although I want to go into my hometown, which is in Dnipropetrovsk region. But it seems like there's a lot work in Ternopil and in Chernivtsi with refugees who were able to evacuate. So I might just going to stay. I would say that right now my life is day to day, so I don't know what I'm going tomorrow besides going to church. So well, I know what I'm doing on Tuesday and Monday. We're going to refugee camp, and Monday we are doing training. But Yeah, so I'm going to be here until end of May, so I'll be here until 26 is my flight. Hopefully like 23rd, maybe I will start returning, making sure I get back fast. And I'm here just because God gave me opportunity to take off from work for 5 weeks, actually 7. My family is here, and God gave me education in psychology. I'm a professor, speak 3 languages, well, trying to speak Ukrainian. And yeah, so here I am.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Thanks for joining on the call. Valentyna, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining and all the information. I'm gonna drop Valentyna's social media into the chat if you guys want to follow her. She's a real person helping real people. And we have another guest, also from Kiev, an American. As I don't know if this is demeaning to her. Valentyna, thank you.
Thank you.
And Alina, so glad that you were able to hop on. Hello. You're on mute, so you will have to get off mute.
Right.
Is
Sorry,
American demeaning to you at the moment, or?
No, I'm using it to blog post.
I'm gonna first share about you and how I know you. Alina is, if you were on the call last time, Oksana was on the call. This is Oksana's sister, and Alina lived in California, and she's a photographer, and she'll tell us why she decided to go to Ukraine. I really recommend following her on Instagram. She goes through all of Ukraine, takes photos, tells stories about what's going on. I think Alina is a great example of a person that you can relate to. I'm talking to Americans here, because I think for most Americans, it's difficult to imagine the world in Ukraine, because you've never been to Ukraine. You don't know how things are. You don't know how to relate to it. But Alina, with the eyes of somebody who spent most of her life in the US, is coming here and telling stories like this one of a man who lost his house and still has a mortgage on his house. I think that's enough said. Alina, tell us about why you went to Ukraine.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be able to be a part of this call with a lot of really cool people. So thank you. I actually came, trying to figure out how long ago. It was about a month and a half ago. I don't know. Anyway, dates, I don't know what date is. Like, it's fine. Anyway, but I came and I was actually working at the border. So when there was kind of a peak of refugees leaving Ukraine, I was there helping with building kind of some refugee centers, and also kind of getting people to, by the time I kind of got there, within the first X amount of, like the first week and a half, like Poland was already kind of bombarded with in Krakow. I was kind of more like the Medica border. And so I was helping there with kind of relocating people and trying to find actual homes for them. So not just like, okay, like you're out of Ukraine, like good luck in life. We were trying to relocate them to actual like church communities. And we were doing that and sending people to Germany, to some parts people in Poland as well too, but also to Norway. So we were doing that. And then my friend has a refugee center in Lvov. So I got connected with her there. And I was doing some things at the refugee center there. So it's kind of like the middle spot for people fleeing the east. They a lot of times would huddle in Lvov, and then from there they'd go to the border. From the border, they'd kind of go through the whole process that they went through. And then after that, I got connected with the people here in Kiev, and I've been here most of the time, and I'm really grateful to be here. Part of kind of my reason for even showing up here and being here was to document a lot of stuff. Was to document what's happening, but also kind of raise funds and kind of be specific about where they go. Just because I know a lot of people have been donating money, but like that's been kind of like a thing. Like we've been working with so many people by the border, and it's like all these big name companies, but like the money, like it's still like, for example, I'm not going to say who, but it's a big name company that we were partnered with. And the big name company, they provided like all of the tables and all the chairs and all the stuff, but all the food and the actual legitimate stuff that we were giving refugees, that was out of my pocket. That was out of me going grocery shopping. That was me buying the ingredients. That was us like doing, you know, providing that kind of stuff. So it was just kind of weird that like, you know, all these big names, like they'll make the display look pretty of the center or whatever they are, but like all the stuff was kind of like our money and our work. Anyway, so the people, not a company, they're a small group here. I got connected with them, and when I met them, I kind of fell in love with the team. They're small. They're based out of Kiev, and they pretty much distribute aid. We've already done. I mean, we've done Bucha, we've done Irpin, we've done Chernihiv, we've done Borodanka, Kharkov. That this is just like with me being here, like a bunch of little villages around Kiev that have been severely destroyed. And so we would bring them, one of our big focuses, medicines. We have a doctor on staff here as well, on our team here, not on staff, this is all volunteers. And so we do a lot of medicine, and we do a lot of food as well too. But we also provide a lot of things. I know this is separate, and Daniel talked to me about this, but we would also help with kind of doing some food for the military, but also we partnered with paramedics and firefighters. And so a lot of them are our friends, and they basically they're like low on everything. So they're low on tourniquets, they're low on all this stuff. And so we would help kind of fund and bring in a lot of the supplies they would use here on people. Anyway, sorry, I'm like just rambling a lot. So, but that's kind of what that looks like. And I've been documenting the entire process. And the whole point of me documenting as well too is just to create a system of accountability. The main thing is I just want to make sure that people know that the aid is delivered. We're hand giving it to people. It's coming, it's there, and here's documentation for it. And it's been cool because it has brought in other companies that are like, oh, like we actually see you, you know, here doing, and a lot, it has brought in a lot of people wanting to donate as well too. So anyway, yeah. So that
How long do you think you'll be staying?
I'm here for probably another 2 weeks, and then I fly back home because I have bills to pay as well. So, and then I plan on being home for a week. My family doesn't know this yet, and then I fly back here. So yeah, we have our step that we're doing is we're actually building a refugee center. So we already had like a center here, but we kind of already have the stuff for it, but we're going to be kind of like breaking down a lot of the stuff there and making that a full-blown kind of a center for refugees. And one of the main things I think Valentyna mentioned is, yeah, we're going to be also doing one of the biggest things I did notice working with refugees at the border in Lvov, like in Warsaw. Like I spent a long time in Warsaw and Lublin and Krakow, Przemyśl, I don't know how to say that word, whatever. There's another place by the border. And but that's one of the biggest things is like there has been a lot of support physically, you know, with their needs, with making sure they have a place to sleep, but everyone's like emotionally wrecked. Like people would just like start sobbing. And I mean, you were right, Valentyna. It was just like people are just crying randomly, like hysterical. Like it wasn't even like a cry. No, it's like people have like lost their like marbles completely. And so that was one of the things that like we were trying to do here as well too, is actually have like, and you can only really do that in refugee centers. You can't really do that like, you know, at a train station or whatever, because at a refugee center, you can sit there and talk with them and actually like get to know. I mean, I had times when like I'd sit in one of the centers, like nothing weird, but we're just sitting there in a circle and we're just talking for like an hour and a half. And like all of them were like, oh my gosh, like this was the nicest part of our day. Because this was the first time that we actually stopped thinking about what's going inside. Because the moment like we literally wander off and like it gets silent, you see a couple people like start getting emotional because they start thinking about like where they came out of. And so anyway, that's kind of the other phase that we're in. That's where I want to come back to and make sure that we kind of get that going. Sorry again.
No, don't be sorry. We want to hear the real thing. I know you've posted a bit about your emotional state. How are you dealing with all the everything you're seeing?
Honestly, it's a day at a time kind of thing. Like, I'm feeling when we kind of first came to the Poland, we were working with a chaplain, and she kind of taught us the whole like she'd walk around and be like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And we had like it was either green flag was green, red or no green, yellow or red. And so yellow was you're doing good. Oh my gosh, sorry, my brain's not working. So green is you're doing good. Yellow is like you're really struggling, you're not very well, but you're still able to do your job. And red is like you're not well, you need to step away. And so like I've kind of been in like a solid yellow red zone for a kind of a week here, and then I'm back to being between like a green and a yellow, and I'm pretty happy to be at this phase because I'm still emotional, still have certain things, but I don't know, I think a lot of things added up, and so it's kind of hard, but I have a team here and we support each other, we talk a lot, and so it's been good to just like because like I think because a lot of the places that we do go to, we have to go by police escort. Like we're not, these aren't areas that anybody can kind of get into. And so sometimes we have been seeing some of the worst. And so it's just been kind of like, yeah, kind of adds up a little bit. So
But I don't mean to like pry deeper, but what is the most like painful things to see? I'm sure there's a list of 100 things you can say, but for someone who is in America in a comfortable couch or wherever they are, like what is it that you come and you're like, whoa, this is not even what I expected?
um I think the most like I think the things that like I don't know, I honestly don't know why. Like I to where I've seen like I was there in Bucha, we saw the bodies like and people in the mass graves, and it was like I think, and you just see this like hardcore destruction. You see like the stories and stuff, but I feel like honestly, it's so crazy that sometimes it doesn't feel like it's real. So sometimes I think my brain kind of like shuts these parts down. So I feel like it's usually not these major or what people sometimes think would be traumatic. It's honestly, let's say I was sitting when we were getting a woman out from Kharkiv. We dropped in a bunch of supplies to Kharkiv, and then we brought a refugee back with us. And it was like sitting with her, talking with her, she reminded me of my mom, and she had issue. I mean, my mom, she doesn't have issues with her eyes, but it was just like the age, just kind of the way her demeanor and whatnot made me remind me of my mom. And she had issues with her right eye, and it was like foggy, and then it was like her face was like droopy, and I think it was just there, it's just stuff like that to where I'm like, she's probably fine, but it's just like people here already have had such difficult lives in general. Like any person here that has any connection with Ukraine, I'm sure you have like traumatic stories, right? So do your parents, so does everyone. And I think it's just like seeing people like her who have like disabilities, or just like talking to people and hearing their stories, and then just realizing like, dude, their life was like crap. And now it's like the moment when it felt like Ukraine was starting to get better. Like it really felt like things were beautiful. Like most of the one of the refugees I talked to, like even Mariupol, they were like, it was, even though they had factories, it was becoming like one of the most beautiful places to live. Like all of this stuff, the moment it was like, all of that was like taken away, and like they're back to like living these like really horrific stories and horrific lives. So I think I was surprised at how much stuff like this affected me instead of like the other stuff. But it's like this in person, hearing their story, but also just realizing like, I don't know, like ничего не могло быть okay, like it could have like, why can't they just like finally have a break, like these people? And that's kind of where I think it makes me sad, is just like talking to these ladies and that have had hard lives and having it be even harder now. So I don't know. It's like not probably the fanciest answer, but I think if there's something that affected me the most, most of the conversations that I have with people and just seeing them.
Yeah, it's tough. What do you feel like is kind of the biggest misconception from how Americans see the conflict or see the situation? Is there something that comes to mind that like you thought of it one way and then you come and you kind of realize what the reality is?
I think for me as well, I've never been in a war zone, so I thought it was like lockdown, all this stuff, craziness, but like people are still living their lives. People are still working, like people are still doing stuff. And it like life, like I was literally in Lvov, like we left for the day. And that was the day where like they were bombed 4 times. They had like a bomb, and it was like right next to our apartment. And that was actually one of the scarier moments as well. And, but it's just like I have like video of me doing the a video of just like literally a bomb going off, and like just people are casually walking around like nothing just happened, like sirens are blaring. I mean, so it's just like stuff like that, to where I think everyone's like shocked. Some of the videos I've posted to where people are like, why are people like not freaking out and running away? But it has become such a norm. Like you hear sirens and it's like whatever. I think Valentyna can relate to that. You just kind of, so I think just like, it's still like life exists here. People are still doing stuff. I don't know. Yeah. So, but as far as other misconceptions, I honestly can't think of anything right now. My brain's not really functioning fully. So.
Yeah, man, if here in the US, those of us that follow the news and get messages from friends and family every day, it's incredibly difficult to process, because every day you're seeing just messages. You're not even there. I can't imagine like how you're there every day processing that is, I don't know, it's tough. How do you, like, I wonder, like, when you come back to the US for that, or you said a week, like, it's gonna feel weird because it's like everyone's just normal, and just a few hours ago you're in a war zone. It's just crazy.
I know. I like came back for like during this time that I was here. I had to work in LA for a couple of days, and then I didn't even go home, and I flew back to Ukraine. And I was so annoyed being there. I was so like irritated, because it's like here, I feel like people are still on each other's side, and everyone's like, I've had people come through and like do stuff for me without even asking. Like everyone's just like on board to help. And then I texted like some people, in, California, like, hey, I need help with this and this, and like silence, and like no one's helping. Like it was just like such a frustrating like experience of like, dude, I just came from like Tipa, it should be a lot worse here with the communication and everything, but instead everyone's just like, but I don't know, but it's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous going back just to see how it is, because so I think it'll be fun. I'm definitely getting a therapist, so we're doing.
Yeah, you gotta use your time well, like every day, twice a day.
Yeah, I know.
How people that want to help in the US, like how can they help? Like what's how, like, because a lot of people they do want to help, they genuinely, and we've seen that with us, with our organization, people have even joining these calls and watching the calls and trying to be involved. And but what's like a good way for people to, that's just a typical American that hasn't maybe been to Ukraine, doesn't, maybe before the war didn't even know where it was on the map, what's what's a good way to be involved, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is the whole part of like volunteering, like, that's a big thing. That's huge. Actually, physically being here is one part. The other part is like there are I mean, that's kind of why I like you guys, but I'm kind of really against donating to like big organizations, big names, because like, kind of we talked about with Daniel, is you're kind of paying for someone's salary, whereas I think even if it's not us or like other people here, it's just like finding like, even if it's like small amounts, but like finding small organizations that are actually ground in Ukraine, and kind of donating to them, supporting like, or just if you're going to get coffee, like stuff like that, or just like there are a lot of like restaurants, there's a lot of places that are like giving a percent, because if you're going to go eat out anywhere, do something, there's a lot of restaurants that are giving back to Ukraine, or a lot of like Ukraine operated like little small companies, like they usually, I mean, even like our friends oh my gosh, why am I spacing out on their name? Anyway, they're a brand, and they're giving like 100% of all of their stuff right now to Ukraine, and like they're literally giving it to people that they know. It's their home. So just kind of like stuff like that is just kind of, donations are obviously huge. The other part is like constantly reposting the content. Like I'm super grateful for my social media following, but I'm also just incredibly grateful for people that are reposting, just because like it really does. I'm not trying to get new followers or anything like that. I'm trying to get like new donors, and it's been huge when people repost content, whatever it may be, and they see our work, they see what we're doing, and then they're wanting to give more. And so like let's say, even if you can't afford to give, like if you can just take a second out of the day, and again, it doesn't have to be us or anyone else, but just repost the people that are actually doing the work in Ukraine, because people do want to donate, even if it's you, if it's not you, like a repost actually can bring in a bunch of new people. And so like I personally am like eternally grateful for that. I have had people that I have no idea who their names are, anything about them, and they've been Venmoing me, and they've been kind of bringing in donations. So reposts are huge as well. And then also prayers are really, really big. And I don't use that kind of phrase lightly, but there have been some crazy stuff happening here that like, I know that God has us in control. And so, please keep the prayers going. So, yeah.
Does anyone have questions in the call that you want to ask? Whether it's Valentyna or Alina or us. That's interesting. No. Yeah, we're talking with Alina to start working together in some capacity, because again, we trust her, and she's obviously been doing this herself for a while now, and so hopefully we can also find a way to work together with her, because we have funds that have been donated, and obviously she wants to use them in the best possible way, and also if someone wants to donate to Alina because they know her and they want to do it in a way that's the best way, like tax deductible and all that, to do it through us, that would be win-win for everybody. Well, I think there's like 4 winners. Win, 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 win. People get help. You save on taxes. Alina gets support. Everyone's yeah. There's a few people, I don't know if you see the chat, Alina, but a few people saying thank you, and how your photography, the thing I'm grateful to you, Alina, for is, again, it's one thing to have somebody in Ukraine post about what's going on, but there's always like the suspicion of like, well, maybe they're lying, maybe they're just saying it because they're Ukrainian, and they obviously will defend, like there's a lot of that vibe, as unfortunately out here in our circles, because people have completely stopped trusting the news. So anything that's on the news, they do not trust. And having somebody that go to even Bucha, like, you saw all the stuff on the news about Bucha, but how do you really know how truthful the reporting is, or is there really that much destruction? Or I've heard people asking, well, what if those are like the Ukrainian soldiers? They're trying to find a way to blame Russia for all of this, so maybe they did all of it. And having somebody from a culture you understand, American culture, go there and see with her eyes, and talk to people that were there, that's incredibly helpful, because you have a source that you can say, hey, were things really as bad as they reported? Was there really all of this done that they said it was done? And I think that's really rare. This is the first time I ever remember something being on the news and I can like fact check the news. That's just, it's been a weird thing to be doing. So big thank you to you for everything you're doing. I'm sure that a lot of people are telling you that as well. Hopefully you're not getting a lot of doubters and haters in your inbox, but who knows? Yeah, you tell us a few words. Don't be too harsh now, but unmute, if you can unmute yourself. You're on mute. If you can tell us what the response has been.
I've had like a lot of heat about like posting the content that I'm posting, and I'm just like, honestly, like it's kind of gotten to a point to where it's like it's some random girls in California or whoever that just has no idea what they're talking about harassing me for like stuff, and I'm just like, dude, like I have to, okay, not half. There's stuff that I 100% know that I can and cannot post. There's so much content here that has never like made it to daylight because first of all, we're trying to protect our sources. We're trying to protect a lot of the stuff. There's like so many things that we don't share. I mean, like even Mariupol right now, like 2 weeks ago, we knew this was going to be happening from like stuff that we have. I can't post a lot of these things until like they kind of make it to the news, you know, whatever this is. So like, and the other part is like the stuff that I'm iffy about if I can or cannot post, I talk to my team here and they confirm that. So like everything's like proofed, and I'm not trying to make things harder for Ukraine or make things more difficult. So like that's been huge. But then I have had a lot of like Russians message me as well. That's where like I've kind of gotten a little posting my content after it's done, just to avoid any like arriving to Kharkov and like having people wait for us there that are like finding out that we're like delivering 3 tons of food or something like that. So I've had some kind of weird interactions to where they're like, they all deserve to die, like weird stuff, like, and then you also have other kind of people that are like, I mean, these are the ones that are like the super religious, but the ones that are just like, there's two sides to the story. There's trying to say stuff. And I'm just like, yo, I don't have the energy to like kind of deal with any of you guys. But yeah, so most of it has been about like really harassing me about content without knowing anything that they're talking about. So that's fine.
Yeah, it's because I know your content is not calling for Russophobia or to blame the Russians, you know, it's just revealing the pain that's there. And a lot of, I think people think that in order to be, a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to take a political side to show compassion. You can be compassionate without having to declare that politics are actually like this or like that. And it's really sad when people can't just show human compassion toward the pain of people. That's
kind of what we're trying to do is like, I mean, I'm like, we're not supplying the military. We're literally providing humanitarian aid. Like, I kind of had the thought to myself, like, let's say flip the switch, right? Let's say Ukraine was hardcore attacking Russia just as much. Like, would I be there offering? Because like, I'm just trying to end as much as I can suffering, you know, of the people here by providing like, or supplying aid and whatnot. So like, when people are kind of, they're starting to pick on like stupid stuff that doesn't matter, and it just kind of doesn't make, anyway, it's just kind of frustrating. Like, or like the things people pick on, it's like, dude, it was a really hard day. A lot of things went down, and you're over here talking about the type of food we're giving to them. Like, are you for real right now? You know, like, so it's just,
yeah, I'm sure there's like, they look at photos and they're like, are cookies really the best thing you can be buying? You know, I'm sure it's easy for someone who's like swallowing a pizza at the moment, judging what people are eating out there.
No, I bought like maybe I'm not actually gonna say how much money I spent on Kinder Surprises, but people were kind of weird about it. But I'm like, honestly, this is the first thing that people see when they cross the border is our team there, and we play games that get them like Kinder Surprises. And this is like people, like the kids would laugh so much, the parents would start crying because they're like, we haven't seen our kids smile this much. And I'm like, I don't care if this Kinder Surprise is $1,000 a piece. We just made this. Okay, obviously I do, but like we just made this kid and their whole family, like we started playing these games with the elderly, and everyone like would be so excited. Like we have these grandmas come and they're like, I want to play this game, and like you have this, and like everyone's just like smiling, and you know, like because, and then the moment they stop smiling, they're telling me these horror stories of like this person got blown up, like this person got raped, like this person had this happen. And so Anyway, yeah, I'm like, why am I having to defend my Kinder Surprise, like, you know, purchases? I mean, but then I guess you have to because people are technically donating. So, but
Yeah. Obviously, you're not spending 100% of your budget on Kinder Surprises. For those of you that don't know the Slavic cultures, Kinder Surprise is the most popular child candy that you can buy, and it's that's really the reason. It's definitely above a Snickers level. Alina, thank you so much. For those of you that are watching either on the call or on YouTube, we'll be partnering with Alina, and if you want to give to her specifically, you can, and you will just need to tell us that your donation you'd like to go to her causes and what she does. We made sure to explain to Alina that every dollar that goes through us is for civilians, and the tiny percentage that their team is involved with helping. No one's supplying bullets, believe me. It's just humanitarian aid. But the dollars that will go through Grace T are always only for civilians, and Alina knows that too. But do follow her on Instagram. She has great stuff to repost, great stuff to follow. And thank you so much, Alina. Thank you, Valentyna. Thank you, everyone who is is helping in any way. Julia is asking, Alina, are you able to give and send anyone their own portrait? Do you take photos of them and like send them photos of themselves?
I see the notifications, but I'm not able to see where I can.
I'll send you screenshots. I'll send you screenshots of people saying nice things about you, about the portraits.
Portraits in Ukraine, or where are the portraits?
No, like when you travel around, do you take photos of people and then email it to them later?
Oh, I actually bought a Polaroid for that reason. So I've kind of had fun with it. So I like spend my own money on everything with this. And I've been kind of just doing portraits of people, and then I give them one, I take one for myself. And so that one's been kind of fun. Most of the time, unless I kind of like build a connection with people, I usually don't send them portraits because that will take me a very long time to get them out to people. So that's why I kind of like the whole Polaroid idea, that I can just, here you guys go. They can take it home and have it.
Yeah, and probably not the most compassionate thing to be like, hey, here's a photo of you sad, like making that the main purpose.
Yeah,
but the photo for you to remember.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna end the call because we are out of time. Big thank you to Alina, big thank you to Valentyna, everyone who is on the call, who supports us, who spends their time and energy and money and everything. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. Hope to you join us in the following days. See you later. Bye.